All right. I think I should be live. I think. Let's see here. Get the chat up and running. I get back to used to doing this kind of stuff. I think that'll work just fine. Cool. Whoa, nope, don't want to do that. Awesome. All right, you guys are in. Cool. Shane, can you hear me? Cade, can you hear me? JC Cook, let me know if you guys can hear me all right. You can hear? Awesome. Name coming soon. I like that. My memory's terrible, so if you're new here, welcome. Did I lose weight? Yeah, we'll get to all that. We'll get to all that. Uh, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I like I said, we'll get to all that. There's a lot that happened. I got a lot to catch up on. I actually have. I was supposed to have. Let me get this light on. I'm trying to remember. I'm like out of practice, guys. Like I'm looking for where the camera's at and stuff. Um, Let me get this light turned on here. Oh, maybe that's too much. Oh, nope, don't want to do that. I think that's fine. I think that's better. Dude, you look great. Hey, what's up? I think I said that right. Thanks, man. Like I said, we'll get to that. There's a lot that I need to cover and stuff, but I'm gonna just let more people come in before we get going. We're about a minute and a half in. Thank you so much for the thumbs up. You guys all, there's 4 people in the chat right now, and you guys all gave me a thumbs up, so I really appreciate that. That helps a lot, as you know, the algorithm and all that jazz. But yeah, I'm going to be doing a lot of repeating myself, obviously, as people trickle in. I hope that my post on the community tab. Let me know if the audio goes out, guys, and I'll adjust. But the post on the community tab that I made last week, I hope that it generated enough of a like heads up to get you guys to come into the chat and ask your questions and for me to catch up and everything because like I said, a lot has happened. So yeah, pretty much I I'm actually obviously doing a lot better. We'll start with that. I was in a really dark place. A lot of people struggle with depression. In America, that's all the only reference I have. I've never left the country, so I know a lot of people struggle with depression, and most of us that have depression have some level of anxiety that comes with it. It's pretty much comes with the territory. And for those of you out there, the people that are in the chat right now, if you guys have these struggles, I can attest to them. They're real. Glad to see you too, Goose. Glad to see you too. But yeah, I just basically wanted to start off with just kind of giving an awareness, to everything. Fix my chair here, but just like an awareness to everything. If you guys aren't aware of, depression and anxiety and stuff like that, it's a real thing. I'm actually seeing a doctor now finally for the first time. I'm 34 years old, and I've never seen any kind of psych doctor or counselor or therapist, regardless of whatever trauma has happened in my life, whether it was the death of my father, the death of my uncle, who was like a father figure for me. A lot of things that happened when I worked at the hospital. Those of you that know me from previous videos, I've mentioned before that I worked at a psych hospital for almost 3 years and saw a lot of things there that a lot of people don't normally see, and always thought to myself, well, I'm not in the military, I'm not a police officer, I'm not a firefighter, I'm not a first responder of any kind. So any kind of trauma, and I would do the air quotes, any kind of trauma or anything, I had to kind of like, man up, as they say. Well, I'm here to tell you that's not correct at all. Don't ever let that be what anyone tells you to do, whether it's your friends, family, significant other. It doesn't matter because that's a very closed-minded way of thinking. And unfortunately, I kind of fell in that category. In my upbringing, I was raised by an immigrant family that moved to the United States, and all they wanted to do was be an American. So they followed what they saw, and it was the boomer mentality, unfortunately. So a lot of closed mindedness in my history, and I don't want to give that to my kids, and I don't want to live that in my own life, and I don't think anyone should. So I right now am in the process, as I said a couple minutes ago, um, I'm in the process of getting a diagnosis and getting help and getting professional help. And not that there's anything wrong with your friends telling you, "Hey, buddy, I think you got this." That's fine. But when you have professionals who devote their life, theoretically, hopefully, to helping people, it kind of gives you a stepping stone, so you can, grab your life, take control of your life, and if you have a handicap, if you have a struggle or something holding you back, the best way to deal with it is learning how to tackle it and learning how to get ahead of it. If it's a trigger issue, to at the very minimum work beside it so that it doesn't cripple you mentally or physically, emotionally, etc. So I'm pretty confident that I am either, for long story short, on the spectrum, ADHD, something like that. Basically, my track record is pretty telltale, according to my friends and the people that have been around me, especially in the last year, since last April, which is when everything kind of went downhill for me. I stopped making videos, I stopped posting. um, Hey, R. Clark, glad to see you too. Rob Cameron, what's going on, man? Thank you very much. Rob Cameron says, "Welcome back, brother. I'm very excited to see you. Just watching that I can commute, watching what I can while you commute home from work." Okay, man. Well, be careful. Definitely be careful. But welcome, welcome to everyone. If you're new here, again, thank you for showing up. I don't know how you found out about it. I left it as open as possible. I think this live is pretty public, so there's no subscriber only or anything like that. So if you just happen to find this or I almost said podcast, this live, welcome. But yeah, so I'm fairly confident that I am on the spectrum to some degree, or have ADHD or something along the lines of that, just based off of how I've handled problems, how I've just a basic knowledge of me as a person. If you know me, I love to read, but I just can't do it all the time. I can't do it even half the time. Like it took me a long time to read the Harry Potter books, or any book that was for fun. It took me forever, and I thought it was just because I was a slow reader, or because I wasn't as fast as where I should have been, or where my friends were, or something along the lines of that. And it isn't really, because if I need to read for building a cabinet or read for some sort of educational purposes, I read pretty quick and I get the knowledge pretty quick. But if I feel any kind of pressure from school, my parents, my friends, to read something and make an assessment, I panic and I don't realize that I'm panicking. Um, Partly because I was on medication. Pretty much my entire YouTube career, apart from this video, if memory serves, I was on medication. Of course, there's hard medication out there, medication that I wasn't on that's a lot harder than the stuff I was on, but it still was medication that was affecting me heavily. That brings me to the weight loss. I wasn't on medication since April. I've had my meds. I'm kind of giving you a preview of what's to come in the live, but I've been on medication. I got back on medication, different medication, I should say. But the medication that I was on my entire YouTube career was a not something I should have been on in the first place. And I'm learning that now, unfortunately. Almost a decade of being on the internet, and I didn't know that I was taking the wrong stuff. Not so much that it hurt me, as more along the lines of it held me back from getting better, growing in any way, losing weight. Because since April, I'm trying not to bounce around here, guys, so bear with me on that. But since Pensacon, I weighed 332, 33-ish pounds. I'm down to like 224 now. So that's a little over 100 pounds in under a year. And that's not healthy. I do not recommend. I appreciate everyone who says thank you, to all of you that praised me here, not so much, or even in my job and places, like they were like, oh my God, because I was a shut in for about 3 months and no one saw me. I was just fell off the face of the earth. No social media, no posting of any kind. And if you had my personal number, that's the only way you would call me and say, "Hey, are you still with us?" kind of thing. We got some comments here. Do you still keep in contact with Holden or that group in general? I do not. I do not. Unfortunately, we fell off pretty hard. Um, yeah, we don't have any kind of contact whatsoever. By happenstance, I heard from mutual friends that do communicate with both of us, a couple of different things that have happened in Holden's life, good things, hopefully. But I was not a part of any of those things. I haven't seen him since the last time you and I, or the last time you guys saw us in a video together, because we usually filmed the videos a week before they came out. So we would see each other for the filming, maybe see each other once or twice in between the publication of said video and the filming of it to film something else or to tie something else up. And since then, since the last video that I was on his channel or that he was on my channel, I can't remember which was the last. I have not seen him or heard of from him or Matt. I've talked to Jeremy for a little while. In between the falling out, like he and I would talk on Instagram, or I remember a couple weeks after the falling out, Jeremy and I met for lunch and kind of told each other, hey, we still want to be friends, and I was like, of course, but don't talk to Prime. I haven't heard from him. Yeah, so it's unfortunately not. Let's see. Good to see you back, man. Crazy how long it's been. You look great, by the way. Thanks a lot, Ajax. I really appreciate it, man. But yeah, like I said, I don't know if you heard. I don't recommend how I lost the weight. It's not healthy at all. It really, really is. I'm still working on how bad it's affected my view of myself. I know there's terms out there and there's diagnosis and stuff out there that say, you have body dysmorphia, stuff like that. I'm not going to sit here and wave that flag and say I have that because I don't think it's fair for me to just diagnose myself. If you or anyone you know is suffering from that condition, hopefully they got their condition diagnosed. Now, I'm not saying that, it takes another human with a degree to tell you what you have, but it definitely takes research and it definitely takes assessments and things that think of it like trying to sort yourself in a Harry Potter house. If you know what makes you a Gryffindor, you're going to be a Gryffindor if you take those tests. So you need to kind of do the research and put the time in to kind of get an unbiased take on what you're going through in order for you to get the most realistic and the most accurate response, in my opinion. Now, with that being said, let me lower the volume on this headset here because that Discord message just scared the crap out of me. But that being said, like I said, I am in the process of getting treatment and hopefully getting some answers as to why I did, certain things the way I did it growing up. And this piece of fabric that most of you probably have no idea that I carry around everywhere, I carry it everywhere. I take it everywhere I go. I constantly, incessantly am folding it around, and there's ties to obsessive compulsive disorder, all this stuff that I'm hopefully going to get answers for. But yeah, so I don't want to use the whole live talking about that. That's just one bullet point that I have written here. But it does go hand in hand with everything because my life did change a lot and it all happened at the same time, and that's the big takeaway from this live is that I didn't just decide, because I did have a hiatus like once before where I think it was like a month or two where I didn't make any videos, and it resulted from the falling out that I had with the guys that we were making videos together, and that I didn't know where I stood. And I don't want to get into the rest of that, but those of you who stuck with all of the channels know, some of you have voiced your opinions on Reddit, some of you have voiced your opinions on different videos, and I don't really want to get into that, honestly. I think that ship has sailed two times over, if you ask me. As always, my stance on that, and I'm not, you know, like downing anyone who, like someone asked me earlier about it, NYK, you asked me about it. I'm not, blaming you for it. You probably just didn't know. And I will gladly tell anyone who asks me, hey, what's the scoop on you and the boys, uh, it unfortunately isn't a thing anymore. But I don't want to, get into my opinions is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, I digress on that. A lot has changed. Like I said, I think there's enough of you in here now that I can start talking and going after the actual big part of this. And besides finding out that I may or may not have, be neurologically atypical or whatever, however you want to quantify it or qualify it or whatever. But um, obviously, those of you who know me know I'm a father. I have two boys, and they're both under 10. Logan is growing like a weed, and so is Luke. It's astounding. Those of you that again know me know that Ashley did help me with all the videos, or as much as she could, and she, was there when she could be, and so forth. That brings me to my next point. Ashley and I are no longer together. Her and I are in the process of getting a divorce. Unfortunately, it's just what happened. Honestly, I don't want to say it was a long time coming. I don't want to say it was ugly. It wasn't. It was very amicable. I think it could have gotten a lot worse. And her and I are working together for the boys. And I know that I have a lot of problems, a lot of issues. She has a lot of problems and a lot of issues within her own life, within my own life. But we're trying as hard as we can with the support of both her family and my family, independently and sometimes together, to give these boys, Logan and Luke, the most prosperous, excuse me, life, the most fruitful life that we can give them. But her and I our story's over, unfortunately, and it's okay. Her and I, it's been a long time. Obviously, this all happened at the same time, as I said. So that was another big part of what's been going on, why I haven't been making videos, making posts, or anything like that. Ajax says, "Yeah, man, I get that. Weight loss is definitely a double-edged sword. I hope you can figure everything out. And even though I watch the other guys, I still stand behind you." I really appreciate that, man. And I don't want you by any means to, not see them or whatever. Definitely watch who you watch. Like if the content creator that you watch on YouTube or anywhere else isn't doing something, against your moral fiber or whatever, do what makes you happy. And I'm really happy that you're still enjoying watching all the channels. Um, wow, great to see you back. Thank you very much. It's great to be back. Ace Edits, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Sorry to hear that, Pastor. Hope you're doing well. Oh, Jay Wolfie, what's up? Despite the hard situation, I see you back, man. Hey, I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. But yeah, so that is another big part of the pastor poop pie that I pretty much got served. And I respect you for being so mature and genuine about the whole situation and all the other channels. Hey man, that's the only way to be. You got to be truthful. You got to be transparent. In my opinion, if you're going to be a content creator, you still have to maintain the privacy. But I recommend anyone trying to be a content creator, whether it's on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, wherever, you need to be transparent. You have to be willing to put yourself out there within your comfort zone, but also understand that you're going to get hate comments, you're going to get people shitting on you, you're going to get all that stuff. So you have to make sure that you're A, willing to do it, B, willing to take, the hits and get back up, and knowing that, it's me or you or anyone else. I mean, from Matt to Holden to me, anybody has ever, whoever made a video has told you it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. I had to learn that. And, everyone has to learn that. So with life in general. Today, I've never been so disingenuous YouTuber to influence succeed in the end. Any success was short lived. Well, I mean, one sometimes, like, I don't want to spoil the rest of the video. From what you said, if I understand you correctly, you're saying you tried it and it didn't succeed. If that's what you mean, I mean, I definitely have a segment that I'd like to cover on my future on YouTube and everything, and hopefully that'll help you out with that if you stick around long enough. But yeah, definitely, definitely. So there's a lot of examples about success on YouTube that was very short lived. I've never seen other YouTubers being. Oh, I gotcha. I gotcha. Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes people have to create different personas in order to feel either comfortable with themselves or to feel comfortable enough and have enough confidence to get their message or point across or what have you, in my opinion. But anyway, so yeah, I've struggled a lot with anxiety most of my life. Some of the medications that was on was for anxiety. Some of it was for depression. Some of it was because I was overweight, and my heart and my body was working overtime, and they were trying to regulate things like. Not, I don't think I ever had a blood pressure or a cholesterol issue, but I definitely had like pre-hypertension and stuff like that. My diet was terrible. Those of you who know us, like the whole crew and everything, for a couple months, I can't remember. My memory is terrible, but for a few months, Matt was my trainer, and he gave me a different perspective on how to eat right and how to do that and everything. So there's a lot that contributed to my poor lifestyle, and of course getting this like reboot to my whole system, which again, when I get into it, I do not recommend. This is not a lifestyle change that I recommend or endorse in any way, shape, or form. You guys will not see me in a Slim Fast commercial with the before and after photos trying to tell you to do. No, this is definitely not the way to do it. But I'll get into that, obviously. But yeah, now I'm off of those meds. My meds have been completely transformed and readjusted. I've only been on them for about just under a month because I'm going to go see a follow-up appointment in a couple of days to see how my levels are and everything, and hopefully everything's in the green still. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm drinking enough water. I'm eating, that kind of thing. I'm exercising. I'm doing that kind of thing. But but yeah, so hopefully everything gets adjusted and everything's back on track and better than I thought it was in the past. But yeah, so that's a big thing. Rob Cameron, I've been checking the channel regularly for new videos. Very sad to hear how rough things have been, but very excited to see you have coming out. You have you have coming out way. Sorry, I read that really fast. I think I know what you're trying to say, but thank you so much. Yeah, definitely we're going to cover the future of the channel, guys. Rest assured on that. I just want to get all the depressing stuff out of the way, if I'm being honest. But but yeah, so though, like I said, I don't want to. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a therapist by any means. But if you have ADHD or anything like that, or you know someone who does, try to keep your mind open because it is a very, very real struggle that most people live their life with, not knowing that they have it officially or even unofficially, and it can really disrupt your quality of life. That's the main takeaway. But but yeah, so that brings me back to like what exactly happened. So apart from the divorce and everything, I also we've covered the divorce, we've covered the fact that I realized I have some sort of I'm on some sort of spectrum or something like that. I don't know what to call it. Don't want to be insensitive, and I also don't want to pretend to have something that I don't, just to whatever the reason is. But I did realize things were not as normal as I thought they were. So, and I'm like I said, trying to get better with that. But the third side of the shit pyramid, as I've been calling it lately, is I had a death in the family. And it was a very significant death in the family. Just me saying I had a death in the family, like I just said 2 seconds ago, took every ounce of strength, every ounce of focus, every ounce of fortitude that I could muster just as little as a month ago. My mother would call me and she would casually mention the individual who died, and I would hang up the phone and completely break down. Or I would find myself getting nasty with, some of my friends or family, not in giving them their condolences, obviously, but in not trying to proactively force me to talk about it, but indirectly, like casually dropping a mention or casually bringing up a memory after I said, listen, I don't want to talk about this. I am not ready to. Um, and the death was my grandmother. My grandmother, those of you that don't know, my mom is still alive and well and healthy, thank God. But my grandmother had a really, really hard battle with some sort of rare liver cancer or something similar to that. And of course, she was on that roller coaster of she's bad, she's good, she's bad, she's good, she's bad. And I'm a very pessimistic person, unfortunately. So I was always telling family and friends, hey, I don't want to hear about her getting better. I just want to hear her getting out of the hospital and walking on her own and eating on her own and yada yada yada. So of course, like most things, it came out of nowhere. She was doing well and then just took a nosedive and never recovered. I was not there. 'Cause I'm from New York City. I've lived here since 2009, and I haven't been back since like 2018 when Luke right before Luke was born, I believe. And so I haven't seen her. I talked to her on FaceTime, stuff like that. But I was already depressed because of the divorce and the fact that she was doing poorly. And a friend of mine was like, "Hey, we need to go to a concert. We need to get you out of this part of Florida. We need to get you somewhere else. Need to get your mind off stuff." And I love music. I love live music, and among other things. And it was a concert with a couple of cool bands. And I was like, you know what? What the hell? Let's do it. And of course, while on the trip, it was actually Ashley who called her, or reached out to her, and said, "Hey, just got word from Ulysses, his mother, me. You guys call me Pastor, but my first name's Ulysses." She's like, I heard from his mom that his grandmother just passed away. So she said, please make sure he's not alone. And I'm going to be completely transparent with you guys. I pretty much planned to quit IRL and go AFK forever from life the minute that she passed. That was something that I kept very private and told Ashley, and that's it. And I know that was not, and I'm telling you that is not the right thing to do, which is why this whole live was very important, among other things. Is if you see yourself ever getting to that point, you have to reach out to somebody, even if it's someone that you didn't think could help. Someone has to know, and it's not so that they can call the guys in white coats. It's because nobody knows what's going on inside you if you keep it inside you. And that's a very hard lesson for anybody to learn, whether you're American, whether you're from the UK, it doesn't matter where you're from or how you were raised. You're going to go through something in life. We were all birthed from some human. So when that human dies, we're going to have, theoretically, whether it's a foster parent or a biological parent, we're going to have grief. And grief is, you can't escape grief, taxes, or your own death. So you have to come to terms with that. And basically, she's Ashley told the friend of mine that I was with, which I'll mention her again, but she said, "Hey, she's gone. Make sure that he is not alone when you tell him." and she came. We were at the pool, we're hanging out, and she was like, "Hey, I got something to tell you. Your grandma passed away." And of course, I lost it. I realized immediately that I was in a public setting, so I couldn't really, show my ass or anything like that. But that, if those of you that don't know, that's an expression saying like lose control and go crazy. And I had to take a couple deep breaths, drink a bottle of water, and then just try to begin processing that. For all intents and purposes, my mother just died randomly, and I'll never see her again. That took, and needless to say, that took a huge, huge toll on me. I was still not over my divorce, obviously, still afraid of what that was going to do to my kids, what it was going to do to my health insurance because I was depending on medication. Um, I feel for you having a death in the family is very heartbreaking. Yes, it is. Thank you very much, which I really appreciate that. But a lot of that, most of us don't go through those types of issues at the same time. It's usually spaced out. Whoever's in charge of grief or misery, hopefully, spaces out your issues, and your struggles. But for me, it was just punch after punch after punch, and I just said, "I'm done. I'm just done." And obviously, I'm still here, thankfully. But I was so ready to be over with this, and just even if it meant there was no afterlife, I was just done with this one. But that's not the way to go, obviously. Um, yeah, so I just wanted to cover those big three things and explain as to what happened, why it kept me away, and where am I doing? How am I doing now? Jake Short, dude, welcome back. It's good to see you, man. Pastor, I missed you. So glad you're here with us. Wishing all the best and sending all my love, dude. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, man. It really means a lot. I got goosebumps all over the place, guys. Like, you guys are awesome. Thank you for inviting us in your life this way. There's not much any of us can really say. We love you and support you. Hey, that's all I can ask for. That's all anyone can ask for is just the support, and hopefully someone out there will listen to your story because we all have one, and hopefully there's a lot more chapters in mine. But yeah, so um this friend that I was hanging out with, the only person I really, besides CJ, you guys know CJ from some of my later videos or more recent videos, depending how you look at it. He was my best friend. He still is my best friend. And, but he definitely his life was changing too. He was changing careers. His dad was actually really, really sick, and his dad actually passed away a couple weeks ago. So he's going through that exact same struggle that I went through, and he's since has moved away, and now he's in a completely different state. He and I only communicate through text now, or if we wanted to call each other, obviously we could, but we're not hanging out in person anymore, or going to movies or anything like that. So, the channel itself, the Snapkeep Videos channel took a big hit because I was like, well, I got to reassess now. And what am I going to make these videos on? Because, I started with Holden, that didn't work out. Then I went with Ashley, and of course, that didn't work out because we split and everything. And then CJ moved away. So, um, but yeah, this friend, you guys have never seen her before. You guys will because she's agreed to be on videos with me and stuff. Her name is Alexis, but she goes by Lex, so that's gonna be why we her name. It's not a nickname or anything. It's just what she prefers to go by. Life always tries to take us down with heavy three-hit combos. Very happy you made it through, brother. Dude, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, man. I really do. But yeah, she basically saved my life. I'm a big person who takes the concept of a promise or a concept of I swear to you or whatever, and I take that very seriously. And she didn't know that. Lex didn't know that. And with just hanging out and going to concerts and just cutting up, listening to music with other groups of mutual friends, but her and I always connected pretty heavily. And she basically said, hey man, you just can't quit. Because if you quit, what am I going to do? And she's the one that gave me the perspective on mental illness and the fact that get yourself screened, man. Like, and I said, well, why? I don't have any of that stuff. And long story short, those of you out there who have a complex about being afraid of labels, there's nothing to be afraid of because you either are going to be miserable because you don't know yourself, or someone's going to pump you full of meds that you don't need to be on, or you're just going to live life hoping that you did something different, and you're going to look at yourself down the road. You're going to be full of wrinkles and gray hair, and no one's going to take it seriously because you've lived however many years until that point. Which I'm not saying if you're out there and you're middle aged or whatever, get the help. It's like anything. You not too old to learn, but don't it's no need for it to get to that is my point. But she helped me, gave me a lot of perspective. She struggles a lot with, ADHD and anxiety and depression. So it was just meant to be. And our friendship was never built on that. We were always just more along the lines of, the music that we both enjoyed, and food. We talked a lot about food, and stuff like that. And a giant friendship just blossomed from that. But yeah, so she's definitely, when you guys meet her eventually, we're going to be making videos together. And I don't want to jump ahead of time because I have it all in like a specific order, because it just felt flowy. Because those of you that unfortunately couldn't be on the live, that watch this hopefully in playback, it'll be better that way, because I can't stop in real time and correct any questions, obviously, yada yada. But yeah, it was impossible for me to talk to anyone else. CJ himself, after the first, I want to say, 2 or 3 weeks that I was radio silent, he reached out to Ashley, who was still living in my house at the time, and was like, "Hey, is he okay?" She's like, "Look, he's in his room. He doesn't want to talk to anyone. I hear him in there, so obviously he's still alive." And then eventually he just couldn't stomach it anymore, and he came by and was like, "Look, I just need to see him." And she's like, "Well, he's not coming out, but trust me when I tell you, he's still here. He's going through a lot." And in retrospect, I think that was, I don't want to say a mistake, because if I went back in time, I couldn't convince past me, like, "Hey, you need to go out and show yourself to the world," because nobody could have convinced me to do that. But CJ did show that, he was the best friend I ever had. And okay, this is a long multi-part question. Okay, yeah, what's up? What you got for me? Let's see. I don't know if you remember me on your previous live streams. I do, JC Cook, I do. I have a hard time remembering like details, but your name, obviously very, very familiar. Yes. It's cool if you don't, but I get that you've been going through the ringer. Yep. So whenever you're ready, I'll answer your questions. But yeah, he definitely was my best friend, in a lot of ways, and in many, many ways. And my dad has told me a few times in life, you're lucky if you have one best friend. And definitely, those of you out there, if you have a best friend, hold on to that person, because they don't come around very often. And but anyway, on the other side of that coin too, I was learning a lot about myself that another friend was teaching me. And let's see here. Okay, this is. Oh no, I read that part. Like you said, society makes us feel less than we are because we don't meet their standards. Absolutely. I've been checking on you regularly, hoping that you've been posting, and more on a wellness check. Thank you so much. Yeah, I know. Like I said, I fell out of everything, guys. Like the little bit of TikTok that I ever used, I deleted it. I don't even know if my account's still up, but YouTube definitely was the biggest one to walk away from. Not that I did it purposefully. It just happened. Facebook, nothing. Instagram, nothing. Of course, you guys that were following me on Instagram, a lot of you were there because hopefully you were there for me, but you guys were following my journey of weight loss, like especially when I was training with Matt and stuff like that. But that kind of took a back seat. And as I said, I was at my heaviest when my life plane took a nosedive. But thank you so much, JC Cook, for that wellness check. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry that I didn't reach out until right now. That's why I didn't want to put any pictures on the live or any kind of photos on Instagram of myself, because obviously you guys would go, "Oh, he photoshopped himself," because I lost a whole other person of weight. But I am struggling a lot with that, because believe it or not, when I look in the mirror, half the time, more often than not, I don't see the change, because it happens. So a lot of people tell me it's because it happens so fast. I don't know if that's true or not. Hoping the doctor and the nutritionist and everyone will give me some perspective on that and shed some light on that. But yeah, I really appreciate it, because I, at the very minimum, feel better. I can get up right now and go run around the house and come back and then just like exhale once, and I won't be out of breath anymore. Whereas before, you guys would have had to give me like 10 minutes, to come back. But yeah, so Lex has helped me a lot. And when CJ moved away, it just exploded even tenfold. Like I found myself spending all the time that I spent with CJ, I was spending with her, like going out and trying new foods, or watching stuff that she's never seen before. She's never seen a lot of the movies and shows that I've talked about, and have enjoyed and shared with you guys at all. I mean, spoiler alert, she hasn't seen anything Star Wars. All she knows is Luke, I am your father, and she has no idea what that means. Hasn't seen Harry Potter, hasn't seen any of that stuff. So she's agreed graciously give me all the content in the world because come on, these pop culture movies obviously are never going to go out of style for people like us. And she's agreed to make some sort of content involving her watching those movies and shows and just giving her 2 cents on it. We do have some ideas as to how we're going to do that, but more importantly, she's given me ideas on different shows and different um, videos and ideas for videos that I've never done before. So I think I'm more excited for that. A, because I've already seen all these movies a bunch of times, and a bunch of people make videos about not seeing movies for the first time, and like, there's a bunch of people who critique movies and stuff. And yes, I'm going to be one of them into that pool. But her and I are going to be critiquing a lot more than just movies and TV shows, and that's what I'm really excited about. It's great now you're starting to make a new content. Yes, I'm very excited. I won't lie, dude. I got worried about you just by comparing my situation with your unknown situation. With me at the time, I personally had a lot going on between a woman who had false allegations against me. Holy shit, brother. That is not a joke. I'm glad. Hopefully it's over. Stressful selling of my home. Wow. My landlady to be stingy and my body just failing due to stress and yes. Guys, when I tell you, I have still to this day, I have not actually fainted. I've never been fainted or knocked unconscious, knock on wood, but I've come close. Standing up and going, "What the hell?" and like having to sit back down without your control, and it's horrifying. And stress is the silent killer. It will literally kill you. There was just to kind of get off topic, but to relate to JC Cook's last message, I was sitting on the couch during this whole, episode, whatever you want to call it, and my heart rate went from 85, which my heart rate beats pretty quick anyway, but it went from 85, 86 to 126. And I was like, well, this is it. I'm trying to get my life back together. And my body's like, nah, man, it's over. So I went to the ER. And of course, we don't have a very good hospital where I live, unfortunately. So they pretty much were like, hey, man, we can't treat you. So unless you want to be put on a bunch of meds and pay a bunch of money, we're not going to be able to treat you. So I had to pretty much take a deep breath and drink a bunch of water and hopefully go to bed and hopefully it went away and it did, thankfully. And then I got an actual doctor who's helping me get back on track. Let's see, Rob Cameron, buddy, I wanted your opinion on about a million things. I don't think you'll be struggling for content. I don't think so either, buddy. I really don't. I told you a few weeks ago I care more for pastor than the man, more than Snapcube videos, the channel. I love you, my dude. I hope all this passes and you can go on stronger. But yeah, dude, same for you too, JC. Same for you, man. Like people can be shitty, dude. You got to be careful who you trust. Like I, by default, don't trust anyone. A lot of things have contributed to that. You guys are my extended family, but I have a really hard time trusting people, especially with everything that's gone on in the last 2 years of my life. I've trusted a lot of people and put a lot of myself and invested a lot of my time, effort, and money in those individuals, only for them to just leave me by the wayside whenever they overcame their hurdles or ran into some money or ran into some success or found someone else or whatever it is. I've been betrayed more times than I've been respected, unfortunately. So you definitely have to harden yourself to some degree for self-preservation, but you have to keep an open mind. And I know that that's a teeter-totter, but you got to find that balance. What hit me the hardest was the celebrity death with JDF. Holy shit, you're not kidding, bro. You know how hard it was for me not to come out of a hiatus just to talk about JDF, just to talk about who else passed that was insane to me. Scott Hall, I made an Instagram post right before everything went to hell, but so many people have died that I'm like, why? And I'm about to go to Pensacon, and he was at Pensacon. I met JDF. I got two wonderful things signed by him, and he was one of my heroes. Like I don't want to off trail or whatever, but yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, what he had going on definitely hit close to home for me. Again, I don't condone pulling the off switch, but I mean everybody faces that at one point in their life, whether it's because of work, relationships, family, drugs, lack of money, whatever it is. People have contemplated just quitting IRL. That is never it's what they it is true what they say. It's a temporary fix, or it's a permanent fix to a temporary problem. But I'm glad you're still with us, JC. I'm glad I'm still with you guys. And as much as I sometimes am done with life and I want to just stay home and hide under a blanket because I can't process stuff right, or I can't remember something, or I can't sit down with enough focus, or whatever it is, it's never the correct answer, guys. But yeah, anyway, yeah, Lex really put a perspective in my life that I did not know I was lacking, and her and I have grown a lot closer. And obviously, sometimes I swore off that I would never ever, especially when Ash and I split, it hit me really hard because we have 2 kids together. You know, her and I both realized that unfortunately it was a long time coming, and it was very tragic. And some people don't agree. You know, our family basically with everything, but her and I are adults, and we're making our own decisions, and we're both, you know, hopefully everything stays amicable. Hopefully, you know, she doesn't change perspective and stuff, and hopefully we're still able to work together to raise these kids. But you know, I needed a break. Honestly, I was with the kids all the time, while she was at work all the time, and I don't want to throw anyone under the bus or anything, but it just wasn't working out. But relationships 100% can contribute to your life changing for the worse. So I totally get it. Hopefully you get better, man. And like, if there's anything I could do, if there's anything I can talk about, you know, any kind of relation, I would love to help you or anyone else. Got to head out here, man, soon. But I wish you all the best in the world. I shot you a DM on IG for whenever you're ready to talk with peeps again. Always in your corner, Pastor. Always here for you, Jake Short. I really appreciate it. I will answer you, man, on IG. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And definitely, you'll be seeing me on YouTube again. 100%, man. Take it easy, bud. Nick Bischoff, looking like a stud on here, my man. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm trying really hard, trying really hard. Hey, Pastor, glad I caught this live. What's going on, Jeff? Man, how you doing? How's your mom doing, man? I hope you guys are doing well. But yeah, I'm glad to be back, and it's great to be back, and I have a lot of things planned. And this time, I've been talking to someone about time management, and hopefully, I can get that under control and get some consistency going. But you guys are definitely going to have to bear with me. There might be some weeks where, you know, I don't post on every Saturday. It might come out on a Sunday or a Monday even. But I'm definitely am excited for all the content that I have planned and stuff to put out for you guys. But yeah, you guys are going to be seeing a lot more of Lex. I'm definitely going to make a video probably introducing you to her, so it's not such a culture shock for anyone that comes in the future and just goes, "Wait, there's a missing resume here," you know. But yeah, she's definitely on board to make videos, and I think we have a format that I'm going to keep close to the vest for now, just for surprise sake and stuff. But I think we're gonna make some cool videos and some good stuff. My mom says she'd like to see you sometime to catch up. Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. I definitely have to find a time. Right now, we're gonna get really, really busy with Pensacon, like at work, because I work the con, and I'm gonna have to find time within there to make a video for you guys, like I always try to do. But once I get some time, man, once I get everything working out, I'd love to catch up with some people that I, you know, mean a lot to me. Definitely. Um, but yeah, I couldn't talk to her at all, or I couldn't talk to anyone but her. So I'm excited for you guys to meet her and for you guys to, you know, hear about her life if she's willing to share it, which I'm sure to some degree she will be. Her and I are very private people. I've grown to realize that, and her and I are very, very similar, which was why we're kind of in a relationship now. I say kind of because you guys are unfamiliar with it, but yeah, it's been helping me a lot. She's been a great support system with everything I've been going through, and I'm not saying it's 100% amazing, because her and I were very similar, and when things are very, very similar, they do clash, or they do tend to lose polarity or have too much polarity. Think of magnets is what I'm trying to get at with that. But overall, she's amazing. She's one of the best things that's ever happened to me, and you know, it's great, and it's great that her and I were friends before anything happened, and that's something that I'm not really familiar with a whole lot in my past and my track record, so to speak. You know, I've kind of dove headfirst into things really fast, and which is why I put up that wall as soon as, you know, her and I were hanging out and we realized that we were developing feelings for each other. I said, well, okay, well, this is something that there's a multitude of different reasons why this could be happening. Either I missed the companionship that I had because I was married for almost a decade, or I just don't want to be alone, or whatever it is. But it doesn't matter. It didn't matter what walls I put up. She didn't take them down at all, and I can't stress that enough because it's amazing. She didn't tear down the walls. Life did. And every time that I said, you know what, you'll be fine. Keep her as a friend. She's helping you out. Be there for her as a friend. Things just blossomed, and now her and I are coming up in March. Um, yeah, we'll be. I don't remember the day. None of us do, but it definitely was a huge blessing for her to come up on a year that her and I were romantically involved. And I'm so excited for the future with her and I hope that her and I stay together forever. Obviously, an old guy who used to teach me boxing would often ask me, "What's the point in getting mad? You're already in a fight." His point was not to stress about what I can't control. Easier said than done. Absolutely. I was just told that. I was told that by my therapist. I've had one session, and he said to me, Rule number one, you gotta love who you see in the mirror. That to me, even now as I'm talking to you, is it seems impossible. I'm struggling really, really hard with who I see in the mirror. I always have, but especially now because my life is essentially restarting. At 34 years old, I am back to square one, and it's horrifying. It's scary. You know, you have two boys, and the struggle of having to get over that burnt out feeling that I was having because they were with me all the time, and I was, and I worked just to get out of the house. I hated that I went in and worked 3 to 4 hours at Game Masters Guild, where I still work, just to get out of the house. And it sucked because who wants to get away from their family, and if you do that, I'm sorry, hopefully it works out. But for me it was terrible. I feel the wholeheartedly. I'm 33. Yeah, I feel that, man. And now, not to get off topic, but in America, it takes two incomes. I don't care who you are. If you're 33 years old and you're living with mom and dad and you're paying, for a rent for your room or whatever, it's probably because you can't afford to live anywhere else by yourself, or because you don't trust anyone to room with you, except mom and dad, or your brother, or whoever it is. America is very, very expensive, and it's only getting more expensive. So, um, depending on what happens in the future, I might find myself living in Canada or somewhere else because I just won't be able to afford it. And yeah, so I get it, dude. I totally get it. My parents still help me out to this day, and I wish they didn't have to, but it's the struggle is real, man. The struggle is real. Joyful spirit, what is going on? Wow, looking good. You have lost weight since last time I saw you. Yes, yes, I definitely have. If you're just logging on, I definitely was talking about that. Uh, about how I don't want any. Thank you for the compliment, obviously, but I did it incorrectly. I did not do it the right way. I wish I did. Um, but definitely having almost 120 pounds of a deficit, has helped my life, my body not work as hard. So it's definitely good. I just wish that it wasn't trauma that caused it all. But thank you so much, and I'm glad to see you. I'm really, really glad to see you. But yeah, I'll be repeating a bunch of stuff throughout, and any questions you may have on a specific topic, even if I already covered it, I'll be more than happy to fill you in. I'm lucky personally. I work night shift at Walmart, and beside the allegation crap, I've almost been blessed with this job. Dude, that's awesome. I remember working overnights. I can't do it anymore just because of, I don't know, my body composition or whatever it is. But even though I'm still a night owl professionally, I have to calm down at nights when I decompress. But I know a lot of people that work overnights, and they love it. And I'm really happy it's working for you, man. Haven't really gotten into a lot of adult stress yet, like depression, since I'm 12. Okay, welcome. Sorry for all the S words and all that, but yeah, you've seen the MCU. They say it all the time. It's fine. But you're 12. Okay, cool. But I can at least feel what you're dealing with. Yeah, man. Definitely, definitely is something that you can't escape. Stress is going to follow you sometime in life, and you just have to hopefully have the correct tools, or some of the tools to deal with it. That way, it doesn't hit you so hard. Or at the very minimum, if it hits you hard, you're able to get yourself back up. Ray Vasquez, what's going on? I have a question. When will you be returning to my friend watches series with Matt Holden? Unfortunately, man, it's probably not going to happen. Um, they've moved on to other things. Obviously, I wish them the best, but I haven't heard from Holden in I don't know how long. I think it's been over 2 years now, and if not three. But yeah, I have not heard from him at all. We don't speak. We don't. Nothing. I mean, I think I saw him at Pensacon or something like that, and he went the other way. So I mean, we don't talk at all. So unfortunately, that won't happen. But if you continue to watch like my content and their content respectfully, I encourage that, because support your YouTubers that make you happy. But unfortunately, that ship has sailed, and I'm not saying nothing will come from the future, but as I see it now, I don't think that's possible, honestly. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. I don't want to say never, because I don't like to deal with absolutes or anything like that. But I wouldn't hold my breath is what I'm trying to get at, unfortunately. But thank you for the question. How'd you lose the weight? You look a brother. And Knoxville News, what's going on? So basically, I've told you guys probably 8 times now not to do it, but I didn't say what happened. I basically stopped eating. When everything happened, the divorce, the death, everything, I just stopped eating. I would go 72-hour periods with no intake at all, just water. And the water was just because I had cotton mouth. I had cotton mouth out the wazoo, and I could not deal with it. I just didn't know if you don't care if people swear. Fair, that's fair. Spoiler alert. There's gonna be a lot of, not NSFW, but there's gonna be swearing in some of these critique videos going forward, just because um, I lost my YouTube partnership or whatever it is with ads on the video and stuff like that. So don't know if I want to, at least right now, focus on that part of it. I just want to make content, and I will be starting a new Patreon, and thankfully the this I'm kind of jumping out of order here, but it's okay, because I'll forget probably. But I will be doing a lot of D&D stuff. I've been doing a lot of D&D stuff on my free time to kind of keep my head going. I know Joyful Spirit have definitely expressed interest in me DMing a campaign. I figured out finally a way to do it that might work perfectly. And I will be starting up the Patreon again. For those of you who stuck around longer than I made content for, I'm so sorry. I totally blanked on it until I switched phones. I got back on one of my old phones that still had my Patreon info, and it sent me a message, and I was like, what do you mean I have $10 in my account?" I was like, "Holy crap, I've been getting," and I feel terrible. So I feel like I owe you guys that have been my patrons. But yes, I will be doing that again to kind of help pay the bills and supplemental income. But YouTube, since I'm not going to be using their AdSense anymore, if an S word or a B word or even an F word slips in there, just spoiler alert on that. I know I had a lot of younger. I don't know how many, but I had quite a few younger viewers, and I'll try to be a little bit more. But there are going to be videos where I start off with, guys, we hate this movie, beep 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 beep, spoiler alert, whatever. But I still will be uploading on this channel too. I just have a separate project that I really want to get off the ground, and I'm not going to be as PC with it, or not PC, but like as PG-13 with it. What kind of content are you planning? Oh, I'm definitely getting to it. So as far as the weight loss, before I forget, I just stopped eating. Like I said, and when you stop eating, your body feeds off its fat source, and that's what it was doing. Unfortunately, it does nothing for your skin. So yeah, I look like I'm wearing a meat t-shirt, and in certain areas, obviously, like I still, like, work my arms out and stuff like that, but uh in other areas, it's kind of really hurting my self-esteem, but I'm working on it. But yeah, I don't recommend doing that. I recommend eating 6 small meals a day with a lot of water and a lot of physical activity. That's what I'm doing now. But I'm just thankful that I kinda needed that head start, and everything happens for a reason. I'm trying to remind myself of that and trying to believe that at the same time. Um, but that jump start of almost 120 pounds definitely helped me get the confidence, because my clothes fit tighter, or they fit bigger, and I had to get smaller clothes. But yeah, let's see here. I'm catch up on these chats. Matt from Matt Lane Fitness and my friend watches isn't or Matt from Matt Lane Fitness and my friend watches isn't really watching videos with Holden anymore. It has shifted to my wife watches. Yes, I think that started to happen right before we had the falling out. But yes, I do know that Holden got married and stuff. Like I mentioned way earlier in the live that I saw like a random post that a mutual friend of ours on Instagram had made, and I saw that it was in a wedding setting, and I was like, "Oh, cool, we got married," So I know that happened, but yeah, that's interesting. I hope Matt's still doing his stuff, and obviously hope Holden's still doing his stuff, but I hope Matt has achieved the goal of not doing the nursing anymore and doing YouTube full time, because I know he was very passionate about that, but I don't know, but yeah, as far as we go, I don't think it's gonna happen. Honestly, I might do something with Jeremy. That's not off the table, because he and I still communicate, not as much as I'd like, but he and I do communicate. So that's definitely not off the table. Courtney says, "So what's the channel going to be about now?" So a channel, I've actually already have it up and running. I have to get a couple more things like the Patreon. As soon as I get off the live, I'm going to add the tiers and add some of the stuff, and that way you guys can, like, those of you that are interested can go on and see what all I'm going to offer, and if it's something you want to help pledge, you can pledge. I'm going to make a new Teespring page to tether the channel, because it's a completely fresh channel, and it's going to be called We Judge Everything, and it's going to be spearheaded by Lex and myself, and we're going to be basically co-hosts on most of the videos. There might be some times where I do stuff by myself because she's at work or something like that, but she will be primarily the co-host of it. And we are going to have a podcast that's tied to it. So a lot of the YouTube videos that we upload will be the visual. I mean, you'll get the audio obviously too, similar to how CJ and I did it, but we will be kicking it out on Spotify and stuff like that, so that you guys can listen to it if you're driving, or if those of you don't want to technically see a video, you want to just hear what we're talking about. It'll be on Spotify and all that. We're going to be very, very heavily podcast centric, but we're also going to have a segment where her and I go somewhere in mini golf, for the first time, if her and I haven't done it. I've never disc golfed before, and Dave from Game Masters Guild, my boss, has it's one of his hobbies. He's offered to go with me, so he'll guest star in that video, for example. But I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff I've never done before. I'm going to be trying a lot of foods I haven't tried before, and heavily, heavily critiquing them. Lex and I are coming up with a system that you guys are going to hopefully be a household system where you guys realize, oh, they're going to critique on this, and you guys are going to be able to see the critiques at the end coming. But I'm very, very excited because I've been purposefully not watching certain shows, not eating certain things because I want to make videos on it. Let's see here. I'm getting buried in comments, but that's a good thing. Let's see. Damn, you got divorced. Sorry to hear about that, bro. It's okay. It could have been a lot worse. I still care for her. Obviously, her and I are amicable because we have to raise two kids together. And she's getting her thing done. She's living her life how she wants to. I'm trying to do the same. So it could have been a lot worse. It could have been a hell of a lot worse. And I hope that things stay cordial with her and I. I hope that nothing changes on her end. I don't see things changing on my end, honestly. But yeah, it's unfortunately what happened. Let's see here. Can I ask who passed? My grandmother did. For lack of a better phrase, she was my mom because she raised me. I lived with her since I was 5 years old, and even though there was a generational gap and a cultural gap that made me feel very ostracized, she was my mom essentially. My mother is a great woman, obviously, and her and I are just now getting a relationship. So if you're out there, mom, watching this, sorry, but it's the truth and it hurts. I know, I'm sorry, but her and I are definitely getting a relationship going now, and we're a lot closer than we ever were. And my grandmother's passing did cause that. So if anybody were to illustrate a photograph or a portrait of my mom, my grandmother, and I like to, in my mind's eye, to see my mom and I, and then my grandmother's spirit in the middle, holding both of our hands because that's what happened. Um, Speaking of cons, my friend is inviting me to go to my first con and meet Johnny Young Bosch. Yo, for those of you that don't know, Johnny Young Bosch is the second Black Power Ranger. He's the voice of Ichigo with Bleach, and that's as far as my fandom for him goes. I know he's done a lot more stuff, and honestly, I hope it goes well with you, JC Cook, especially if you're a big fan of his. I've heard hit or miss with him. I've heard him be kind of douchey. I heard him be really awesome. So I hope it's great. But I know he's gone to Pensacon about twice, maybe more than that. I haven't met him yet, but I've seen him in passing, and I'd love to see him. I think he's going to go for the Power Rangers reunion anniversary, something like that. But I hope it goes well for you. Sorry, I just burped. Goose86, your last video was on the Batman, and now as we speak, the Batman is nominated for a lot of Oscars. We'd all love you man. Sorry, we all love you, man. So glad you're back. You're great. Thank you so much for that. And yeah, that'd be cool to kind of make a video about talking about the Batman. That'd be sweet. Because yeah, CJ and I had a great time making that video because the movie was way too long and poor CJ hated it. I think we watched it twice and he hated it both times. But yeah, Jen is pregnant if you're interested too. Oh wow, that's awesome. I know Holden's always I can't talk. Maybe it's because I'm parched. I know Holden has always wanted to be a father. So and I know that she had two kids already, and he was Scott. Excuse me, hold on. Ugh, carbonation. I know that he always wanted to be a father, and you know, uh, her kids. He was helping raise her kids, and Holden's always been very paternal. Um, Paternal, right? Yeah, maternal's mom, paternal's papa. That got it. Yeah, paternal. So now that he has his own, little one coming on I hope everything works out for him. Matt doesn't really upload at all now either. Wow, that's unfortunate. I hope he gets back on the grind because I know he really really enjoyed a lot of the production value stuff that I learned. My entire podcast studio was suggested by Matt, so I know he's very passionate about making content. I hope he can get back on it. Matt is still nursing, as far as I know. He is still working hard on his fitness stuff too. I tend to watch Matt more than Holden lately. Oh, okay. Well, I hope Matt. I wish him the best. Matt's a great guy. I honestly, and this is gonna sound terrible, but the falling out with Matt hit me a little harder than Holden because Holden was Holden was always Holden essentially, and Matt was a newer friend, and I got closer with Matt a lot faster. I feel than I did with Holden, even though I lived with Holden for many years. And something about Matt always like resonated with me. Like this guy, he's younger than me, not by much, but he's younger than me, and he's driven, and I'm driven, but I just didn't know. I was too afraid to let go of the pool. Where Matt was like, fuck it, let's do it. You know what I mean? And I was always like, oh, well, hold on. And Matt was like, look, man, like not the blind, you only live once, but like, it's okay. Either I've done it, it's okay, or I've done a lot of research, it's okay. And those were the people that I like to be around. So it kind of sucked that he and I, he just unfortunately just kind of dropped me. And I was like, all right, I guess. But I wish him the best nonetheless. Jeremy hasn't uploaded in 3 months either. Jeremy, I don't know. I know he changed his channel to like the pop cultural nihilist. I think is the last thing I heard. Um, Jeremy's a fantastic individual. I know him on a personal level, and his outlook, his his sense of being cynical in all the right ways. Like he's not afraid to rip a movie a new one if it just sucked, even if it was the most anticipated movie ever. Spoiler alert, just it just popped into my head. I haven't seen Avatar yet. So Lex and I plan on seeing it at some point in the movies if we can. But I want to make a video. Obviously, one of the videos in the new channel will be critiquing Avatar. I'm a huge Avatar fan. I've seen the original in theaters on IMAX like 4 or 5 times when it came out. And so, yeah, I'm definitely excited for that. But I would love to hear what Jeremy would think on a movie like that, for example, was what I was getting at. Did you ever watch all the gamer videos? I unfortunately, we didn't watch the last one, the third one. I can't remember which one it was. I still have them. I would like to revisit that Joyful Spirit, A, because I haven't finished it. I haven't seen either one of the other two since I watched them for the content. And one of the videos you guys never got to see. So if Lex is willing to watch them, which I think she will be, because she and I play D&D together, which is another reason why her and I got along so well, because she immediately dove into D&D. But anyway, we'll get to that. If you'd like to, obviously, I know Joyful Spirit would love to see it, and you were so nice to send me those videos. We're definitely going to make content on that. That's definitely on the list for sure. Dude, it turns out we're currently living less than half a mile from Game Masters Guild. I'm sorry. Well, feel free to stop in Tuesday through Sunday. I won't be there on Tuesdays, but I'm there every other day. So definitely stop by and say what's up. That's awesome, dude. You're in Crestview. That's sick. What is your favorite run on Uncanny X-Men? Trying to remember. Did I read a lot? I hope you're, or I assume you're talking about the comics. I'm trying to remember what the last Uncanny X-Men comic I read. I think it was, if memory serves, and I could be wrong, but I think it was the one where Iceman's dad dies, and the cover is like him holding his dad, and he's like crying or whatever. But I don't know for sure. But yeah, I would have to look. I would have to get back to you on that one, Ray. Did you and Matt fall out over Holden? Yes, unfortunately, it was over Holden. I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna. A, I don't remember a lot of the details of what the back and forths were through messaging, but essentially, Matt took Holden's side on the whole falling out, and he eventually, from what I'm hearing, stopped making videos with him altogether. I thought they were just gonna, of course, I did have a bitter stage where I was like, oh, now they're gonna drop me the skin tag essentially, and they're gonna go off and make all these videos together. But they eventually obviously didn't. And I knew Matt wanted to make a lot of fitness related stuff. I knew that he was getting Holden to make videos on Holden doing fitness stuff and all that. But I knew he wanted to do a lot of that stuff. And I just felt like I did feel like I was getting in the way, but I also felt like I was, part of it and not owed anything. But I was like, I'd like to get some help too, and that just didn't work out. But unfortunately, Matt was a patron. He did that kind of like as a morale thing, I think. At least that was part of it. And like I found out that we had a falling out because he unsubscribed to the channel. He took me off of his channels as like recommended channels and like dropped the Patreon all at the same time from what it seemed like. And I was like, holy crap, okay, I guess. And this was like during the arguing, like during the back and forth and during the Holden and I's messaging back and forth, so I was like, all right. And of course, it made me feel like Matt wanted me out of the way. I'm not saying that's what happened, but that's how I took it. And I kept that internalized for a long time. I'm actually now talking about that really. But I recently, when Ash moved out, I was moving out a lot of stuff out of storage and I found the Better Than Yesterday Everyday podcast t-shirt that I love a lot. And I was like, I really should throw this away because I'm never gonna, why do I want to keep something that reminds me of a friendship that I really, really hate losing? And I was gonna throw it out, and then I put it back in storage. So I'm still, it still hurts, but what am I gonna do about it now? But yeah, it was over the Holden thing, unfortunately. What is your? Oh, I got that one. Sorry. I wonder if you could ever rekindle some kind of relationship. We obviously don't know the full story, but maybe at some point it will be under the water or water under the bridge, and you guys can talk it out. Like I said earlier, I'm never gonna say never, man. Quoting Justin Bieber on that one, I'm just never gonna say it because you never know what's gonna happen. Somebody can turn around. Holden can call me tomorrow and say, "Look, man, life's too short. I was a dick. I'm sorry," or he can not do that. Or I honestly, and I'm not gonna get into it. Honestly, I'm not. I'm very objective. I'm a very objective person. I try to be objective as much as I can, and I have had relationships in the past, whether they were romantic or platonic or whatever, where I said, "Look, I know I didn't do anything wrong." And this person is just too prideful to admit that they were wrong. And I literally was like, let's bury the hatchet. And things have worked out, but they've also not worked out. And the ones that didn't work out, I felt like the fool me once, shame on, you, fool me twice, shame on me kind of thing. And unfortunately, with somebody like Holden was, at least, I don't know how he is now. I just feel like unless he grew, I don't think it'll ever work with him and I just think it just wouldn't, for whatever reason. With Matt, I'm more open to that than with Holden, but at the same time, since Matt dropped me the way he did, I'm kind of skeptical because it shocked me. But like I said, people can change, people can have bad days, they can put their foot in their mouth, they can do I'm aware of that. I'm an open person. I do know in general, as a rule of thumb, whether it's Holden, Matt, or even Lex now. Lex is like the person I see all the time. When you get hurt so many times, when you get betrayed or whatever, however you want to say it, you have to reserve yourself to some degree. And but it's not something like put up the walls and say no. It's like reserve yourself with walls that can give, because if that person starts to constantly prove to you that they're trustworthy and you don't let them in, that's on you. You know what I mean? So you kind of have to find that balance, but you also have to protect yourself. You have to be like water, like Bruce Lee said. If they're going to put a cup in front of you and you're going to take the form of that cup, that's what you have to do. But you have to never forget who you are. You're still water. You're not the cup, if that makes sense. I don't know if that does or not, but there you go. Let's see here. Sorry to keep bringing it up. It'd be great to see you guys as friends again. Yeah, I know. It would definitely be great. I mean, I had a great time, guys. I was with the kids all day and then worked at the shop. And then every Sunday, I would get up without my alarm clock some days and go straight to Matt's house and make content. And if Holden called me in between the week and was like, "Hey, can you swing a Thursday?" I was there. You know, I loved it. That was one of my favorite things to do ever, was making content. Was that and the 501st. So like I loved it, but it just had to end. I had a really, really good friendship with Jenna, Matt's wife, and for obvious reasons that had to end too. But I still think about that today. Like her and I would, in between takes, her and I would talk about, they got me into The Office, like Matt and Jenna did. And now Lex and I, that's our favorite show. Like we literally have watched The Office. Her and I have watched The Office from beginning to end 6 times, maybe even 7 times. We're watching it now. Like we're up to the right before Robert California comes into the show again. And we're always going to watch it. That's a comfort show that's lasted forever. I know Jen loves Friends, and Lex hated Friends when her and I became friends. I'm saying Friends a lot, and now she watches it. She hums the theme song after I'd never thought that I could. Now the Big Bang Theory, that's never going to happen, but yeah. So who knows, man? Like life's weird. What is it that Uncle Iroh said? Destiny's a tricky thing. You're never going to know how it's going to turn out. So I mean, yeah, it's weird. Let's see. Glad to see you're back and feeling better. Thanks a lot, Jeff. Thank you so much, buddy. It means a lot to me. The Mandalorian trailers. Need to know your thoughts. Sorry to put that on the spot. No worries. I heard about it. Haven't seen them yet, so maybe for old time's sake, I'll make a reaction, in real time reaction video to the Mandalorian trailer. Maybe I'll do that for you guys and post it either tomorrow or the next day. Not sure how close Holden and Matt even are anymore. I'm not sure, man. I don't know. I have no idea. I know that I did at one point feel like I was being replaced. I thought that, like, and Matt made it clear that he didn't want that, and I didn't not believe him. But when things unfolded the way they did, I couldn't help but go, "How truthful was that?" Not saying that he lied, but I did question it. But especially since there was that one time where it, like, someone asked me on one of Matt's lives, like, "Oh, how long have you been friends with Holden?" And I was like, "Oh, almost a decade." And Holden was under the impression that we had only been friends for like 5 years, and that really hurt. But Matt never did anything like that, which was why him just dropping me the way he did while Holden and I were arguing seemed kind of dismissive. Like, well, he's out of the way now. That's why it hurt so bad. And is what it is. I mean, the proof's out there, unless they took the videos down. But um, see, Holden always gave me grimy vibes, but Matt was probably just being loyal to him for helping build his YouTube channel. Well, Matt honestly was just loyal. Period. Matt was one of the most loyal. That's why I gravitated towards him so much, because he was younger than me, and he was like, I looked up to the guy. Like, I don't have an older brother, and he is so like, Matt is like a very infectious individual in all the right ways. Like he'll make you laugh out of nowhere. He'll educate you about something you didn't even know you didn't know. Like Matt's he's a sick dude, man, in a good way. Like, and it sucked because, like, every time I saw him, I was like, all right, man, I'm gonna work. I'm gonna work out twice as hard just because of the smile you gave me. You know what I mean? Like, he's one of those kind of guys. He reminds me a lot of like how The Rock is. I would imagine a very, very powerful individual when he's in the room, like, in all the right ways. So that kind of sucked. But Holden's always been Holden, man. Like, I'm being real with you. Whatever Holden you see on camera, that's how he's always been. which is nothing wrong with that. It's just eventually, it just got to the point where it was just rough for me to kind of overlook a lot of stuff. But I'm not gonna get into that. That's not what this is about. Let's see. All I say is my dad and my godfather had a hard falling. My adopted grandfather and my first pastor, not me, right, had a hard falling. Granddad and the godfather died, and both of those issues up. Wow. I say forget it and move on. Yeah, I feel that, man. My grandfather, my uncle, who my mother's brother, um, for all intents and purposes, he was my dad before my stepdad, my mom's husband, and he's responsible for me liking X-Men, Star Wars, anything comic books, anything nerd. The only thing he didn't know about was D&D, and I wish he would have showed me D&D when I was a kid because I would have played AD&D and not started with 5th edition, which is nothing wrong with that, but I digress. But yeah, they he died, and my grandfather, who is still alive, but he's battling dementia right now, which is a blessing for a lot of reasons. He died, and my grandfather, who never cried a day in my life, dropped to his hands and said, or to his knees and put his hands up and said, "My son died having no relationship with me." And he never ever got over that. And I don't, as a father, I don't want that shit, man. I don't want that. So you're right. But also, you have to know your self worth. And if you feel wronged, it's not saying that an I'm sorry is going to fix it, because if you have to ask somebody for an apology, it wasn't meant, it wasn't heartfelt. But I genuinely feel that I was wronged. I really do. I really, really do. If you put me under hypnosis, my hypnotic self will tell you that. If you give me a lie detector test, I will tell you that. But it doesn't matter, because human beings are weird and we're tricky. And sometimes we don't mesh, and sometimes we do. And sometimes we got to let things breathe. It's a dance. And I just think we just lost a step. So that's really it. But thank you so much for that, because you're correct, JC. You are 100% correct. We judge everything. Assuming there's going to be a video game segment, yes. Oh yeah. Like her and I'm playing through The Last of Us because the show came out and I haven't seen the show at all yet. So trust me, dude. If I could quit my job and get my bills paid just to make content, I would do content every single day. I would and I'm gonna try to do that. But so yes, Courtney, absolutely. You rock it, or you rock if you make that video, dude. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I have to get going, but I love hearing you again, and I hope to get to see you in the future. You will, Wishy. You 100% will. Thank you so much. You're level 12. I don't know what character you'd play in D&D, but definitely keep going, man. You're gonna do great things. If you're this mature at 12, I got great hopes for you, my guy. Thank you for stopping by. Goose, I was watching the My Friend Watches of Endgame earlier today, just reminiscing, and I gotta say, you had some of the best reactions in that video. Thank you so much, man. Because I think about that. I think about this celebrating Holden's 100,000 subscriber video and how cool it was to like walk up to the laptop and just be like eating something and just go, "Hey man, they're commenting on us," you know? Like I got into Impractical Jokers, and I love and hate that I got into it after the falling out, because I think the falling out would have hurt more if I was into the show when we were making content, because we it reminded me a lot of that. Um Lex and I've watched all of the episodes of Impractical Jokers with the exception of the newest season without Joe. For those of you that know about the show, Murr came to Pensacon and wasn't into the show when he was here, and I hate myself for it. But hopefully, him and Sal will come back, and Q obviously, because Q and Sal are my favorite. Um, but yeah, it sucked because we were a lot like them. We were very spontaneous and very, we joked with each other. Matt always tried to get Holden peeing, and I thought that was hilarious. And like, it was such a tight knit, thing, and it sucks. But yeah, dude, I totally get it. I totally get it. I don't know what I just answered, but there you go. I missed you, man. You look great. Seriously. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Feel free to watch the beginning of the video. So I talk about the weight loss and everything and how it's great to lose weight, but don't do it the way I do it, please. You don't have to answer this, but you said it was a blessing your granddad had dementia. I said the same thing about my grandma. She got it before he passed away. I was hoping she won't remember. Yeah. So real quick, basically, I had a very bad perspective, or a dark perspective with dementia. I still kind of do. It still sucks. But when I first moved here, I had a friend whose grandpa was going through it, and he dipped for like 45 years, like hardcore wintergreen long cut. For those of you that are curious, and it was a very bad habit and very disgusting habit, in my opinion. And all of a sudden, the dementia just took a grip of him, and he forgot that he dipped. And he woke up to one of his cousins from another state coming to visit because they knew he was doing badly and stuff. And he was like, "Well, yeah, uncle, I got you this, 6 pack of dip, of skull, or whatever it was." And he's like, "Why would I do that? That's disgusting. It smells horrid." And he literally was floored. He was like, he looked at his sister and he was like, "What?" And they were like, "Yeah, he doesn't do that anymore. Isn't it great? Too bad he's like dying, but yeah." So there are blessings with dementia. Um, my grandmother passing, my grandmother was the light of his life, and if he was didn't have dementia, she or he would have felt terrible when she died because he did abuse her emotionally. He was a boomer. He was an immigrant boomer, but he learned from the American people that he made relationships with back in the 60s when he moved here. And unfortunately, boomers are very bad, like especially male boomers. They are, in my opinion, they're terrible. They mistreat their significant others, whether it's a man or a woman or whatever it is, and um, I just don't agree with the mentality. So he would have felt really bad if he didn't have dementia. So I could see the blessing in disguise. Plus, you get to meet new people every day. If you be real with me, I'm big on perspective because I am a pessimistic person by nature. So I have to find something that helps me want to live every day. So hopefully that helps. But thank you for sharing that. Either way. Just make the amount of content that fulfills you personally. Absolutely, that's what my boss said. Val, she told me, she's like, "Look, make content. You're good at it. Keep doing it." And I'm like, "Thank you." That reminds me, not to leave them out. Dave and Val were so gracious to let me keep my job in a 3 month hiatus that I didn't go to work, and they were like, "You get better because we need you," and they made me feel invaluable, and I feel very disposable, so and very expendable. So they made me feel like I was an asset to them and to the brand, and I would love to franchise, have my own Game Masters Guild too, or something like that, where I am still pushing the same brand because I really don't want to work for anyone else. And I told Dave and Val many times in the last couple of months that if I ever leave the job, it'll just be because we're building another brick and mortar somewhere else with the same brand. So that's hopefully what I do in the future. I talked to Lex about it, and she seems pretty supportive with that. That working for myself is something I need to do, whether it's on YouTube or whether it's in a game store. I still need to have ties to that business because a lot of who I am came from that place. So shout out to Dave and Val, man. If you haven't seen Dave, he has a YouTube channel called Game Masters Guild. He promotes the store and he reviews products and stuff that we get in. And Dave's just a great guy, man. He's like a dad figure. Neither one of them have kids, but they have like 600 kids because of all the people that shop at the store every day. But yeah, head over to Game Masters Guild. Give him some love, man, and definitely look out for the future collabs that he and I do because we see each other every day. But yeah, let's see here some more comments. Let's see. Imagine how hard it is to explain to her about granddad passing and COVID and other major things. Yeah, I know, right? It's like you're making up a story, is how it would probably feel like. If you're enjoying making content, then it will show up on screen. No need to force yourself to make more. Absolutely, man. I really appreciate the words of wisdom and the encouragement. Thank you so much. JC Cook, I'm very religious. I used to pray that she wouldn't get out of it for selfish reasons because it would break her. Yeah, I definitely get it. Human beings are selfish creatures. I hate it. We are selfish. We are very curious creatures. We are very clannish creatures. We categorize and subcategorize and judge everything, which is why this YouTube channel name could not be more perfect or transparent. Um, and yeah, I know I've been there myself. I literally, that's another thing. I've questioned religion ever since she died. Ever since she died, because she's the one that kept me tied to religion. And I said, "What is religion? How do I know that I'm going to see her again?" Because I, I just don't know. There's no way of knowing. So I get it. Faith is what they say. Walk by faith, not by sight. I get it. I believe me. I know the Bible inside and out. But you have to be true to yourself and you have to make sure that you find people that can accept you for who you are, whether it's non-binary or gender fluid or whatever your pronouns are, whatever it is that you want the world to take you as. You need to fight for that because that's the only way you're going to be happy. Now if you're hurting someone else to achieve that goal, you don't have my vote. But nobody's really doing that, not the real people that do that. So if you're struggling with any kind of identity and you happen to stumble upon this clip of this video, I want you to broadcast it everywhere because I want the world to know that if you're not happy with yourself, you got to fix that. So that's my take on that. Hope your family's doing well. Thank you so much. Yeah, for the most part, the kids are growing, and it's freaking me out that Logan's almost 10 years old, and now I have to be worried about what influences he has and keep drugs out of school and all that. I'm still a kid at heart, man. So I'm freaking out. But yes, they're doing great. Thank you so much for asking. Coys, I hope I said that right. Hope you're doing well, mate. Have missed you. Sorry, I said that kind of in an accent. I love the UK accent or the Australian accent, and even the Irish accent. So I was like, mate, sorry about that. But anyway, thank you so much. Yeah, but we're doing as good as we can, and hopefully we things get better, and things get easier to swallow. No pun intended with swallowing burdens and stuff like that. I'm trying to get food in my system because eating is still hard for me. It's very difficult because my body just shocked itself into not liking food, and that's why I'm going to see a nutritionist. But yeah, things are getting better. Thank you, man. I've heard so many crazy stories about paranormal, spiritual things, and honestly, I do believe in God. I feel that I could save it for another live or another video, but my grandmother has come to me in my dreams since her passing, and it was one of those dreams where you're dreaming and it's not real, and you know that all it takes is for you to open your eyes. And I was conscious enough to know that if I opened my eyes, she would disappear. So like I said, I'll get into it in detail if you guys are curious, but I do believe that their energy can neither be destroyed nor created. So we go somewhere. Whether the Christians got it right, whether the Muslims got it right, whether the Buddhists got it right, whoever has it right, I believe it's elements of every religion. And my honestly, my personal hope is that heaven, hell, whatever it is just like it is in Supernatural. And if you guys have seen the ending of Supernatural, that's heaven to me. Being how you were when you were happiest, whether it's with your loved ones, whether it's with your career, whatever it is, if you were accidentally paralyzed or tragically killed in a way, I hope your heaven is how you were when you were at your most happy. And that's what I hope heaven is. So that's my take on it. At least going forward now. Let's see here. Man, I've heard so many. Yeah, I got that one. Have you heard the news of Hugh Jackman returning for Deadpool 3? Excited for this one? No, I have not. I know that he said he would not don the claws if Patrick Stewart wasn't involved. So we'll see what happens. But people change their minds all the time. How the doggies still missing the baby? Um, how are the doggies still missing the baby you lost? Yes. So Luna's doing good. She's still derpy as always, getting in deep trouble as always, always getting in things that she shouldn't be getting into. But yeah, we do miss Lily. Of course, Lex wasn't really around when Lily passed, so she didn't get to meet Lily. But Lex is more of an animal person. Her and I were actually having that conversation today in the car when I was racing to get home for the live, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm just a big animal person," and I'm like, a lot more than me because I lose a lot of patience with animals and cats in particular. But I digress with that. Um, but yeah, so hopefully, like I said, hopefully things work out and with the channel and everything. And you guys are excited for the content and stuff. I realized I was on here for an hour and a half, and my butt is getting numb. So unfortunately, I'm gonna wrap it up. Um, Definitely look out for my community posts and stuff like that. I'm going to be talking a lot about the channel coming out and where you guys can subscribe and all that. If you look up We Judge Everything, it's like a little temporary logo of like a Grim Reaper behind like a judge's table with a scythe. That's the channel. I'm going to definitely go in and write a description and put a bunch of links out and stuff like that. But yeah. Oh, JC, later, buddy. I'll see you. Watch real quick. Let's see. Watch real quick. I'm not sure about. I'm not so sure about y'all in this chat with these questions. Later, bro. Let's see. Weird for me, but I changed jobs. I work fast food. There's a guy in my city who is almost a duplicate look of my granddad. Freaked me out. Oh my god. Um, Later, Pastor. Have a good one. Yeah, man. You guys have a good one. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you for coming to the live. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys got some closure as to why I was gone. Hope you're excited for the return, and I know I am. And hopefully, you guys stick around with this channel and the new one. I still plan on posting stuff here every now and again that still fits the channel, type. But I will be focusing a lot on the new channel because I want a fresh start. I think I want a fresh start. I think it's time. But my mom says she's happy to see you again, and we'll be stopping by Game Masters Guild soon. Awesome, Jeff. Thank you so much, man. But yeah, if you guys got any more questions, feel free to leave them in the comments or message me on Instagram. I still have the Snapkeep videos Instagram up, and I'll be making a new one of those. Go watch Deadpool update. I will. I will. That's what you meant. Okay, cool. Yeah, I will. But yes, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Those of you that are watching this in playback, I hope you made it to the end. I appreciate it if you did. If you have any more questions or would like me to elaborate on anything I said, just reach out to me. I'm going to try and get all my ducks in a row. I probably won't be publishing anything until Pensacon, which will be the Pensacon video. I don't know if I'm going to do a live, probably to keep things easy and to ease myself back into content creation. But right after Pensacon, the gears are going, and I'm going to be throwing content at you guys like crazy. So hopefully you guys are excited for that and excited for the new channel and all the good stuff. Keep doing what you guys doing. You guys are great people. I love you so much. As always, thank you for supporting the channel. And I can't wait to see you guys in the future. You guys take it easy. I'll see you real soon.